Javier Milei. He's now facing calls for impeachment. He promoted this little-known cryptocurrency on X. The price soared, and then it collapsed after his endorsement, costing investors billions in dollars.
Imagine waking up to the promise of financial freedom. A new cryptocurrency, backed by your country's president, is surging in value. Overnight, people are making fortunes, and just as quickly as it rises, it crashes. Your money, gone. The government, silent. The leader who endorsed it? He deletes his posts, pretending it never happened. This is exactly what happened in Argentina in 2025. A cryptocurrency called Libra went from obscurity to a nationwide phenomenon, thanks to an endorsement from President Javier Milei. But within days, it all came crashing down, wiping out millions in investor funds and sparking one of the biggest financial scandals of the year. Was this just another case of crypto volatility, or was it an orchestrated fraud? To understand how this happened, we first need to understand Argentina's economic crisis, a crisis that has been brewing for decades. For years, Argentina has struggled with one of the highest inflation rates in the world. The nation has been trapped in a cycle of currency devaluation, debt crises, and economic mismanagement. The government's printing of money to cover budget deficits has fueled runaway inflation, eroding the purchasing power of everyday citizens. And then came 2024, a year that marked one of the worst economic collapses in Argentina's history. Inflation skyrocketed to over 211%, making the Argentine peso practically worthless. Prices of everyday goods doubled within months. Savings accounts evaporated overnight. People's life savings, once secure in banks, could no longer buy even the most basic necessities. For ordinary Argentinians, this was more than just an economic crisis. It was a financial nightmare. Imagine working tirelessly, only to watch the value of your salary disappear before your eyes. A loaf of bread that cost 500 pesos last month suddenly costs 2,000 pesos. Rent, medical expenses, and even transportation became unaffordable. Faced with this economic disaster, many Argentinians began looking for a way out, and for them, the solution wasn't gold or traditional banking. It was cryptocurrency. By 2024, crypto adoption in Argentina had already surged. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoins like USDT became lifelines for many. These digital assets allowed people to store their wealth in dollars, bypassing government restrictions on foreign currency exchanges. In fact, Argentina quickly became one of the top 10 countries in the world for cryptocurrency adoption. This wasn't the first time a country turned to crypto as an escape. We've seen similar patterns in Venezuela, Turkey, and Lebanon, where people used Bitcoin and stablecoins to protect themselves from government-induced financial ruin. But Argentina was different, because here, crypto wasn't just a grassroots movement. It was about to get presidential endorsement. Amid this growing trust in digital assets, a new cryptocurrency emerged: Dollar Libra. Unlike Bitcoin, which had a global reputation, Dollar Libra was marketed as Argentina's very own digital currency, a project that promised to be a safe alternative to the crumbling peso. And then the game changer happened. Javier Milei, Argentina's libertarian president, a man who had built his reputation on anti-establishment, free market economics, publicly endorsed Libra. The moment his name became attached to the project, everything changed. Almost overnight, Libra went from being an unknown token to a nationwide phenomenon. The price skyrocketed. Investors flooded in. But what no one knew at the time was that the foundation of Libra was about to crumble before their eyes. Imagine seeing your country's leader tweet about a new crypto, calling it the future of Argentina's economy. That was all it took for Dollar Libra to explode. Within hours, it surged from fractions of a cent to over $5 per coin. And the people? They rushed in to invest. Students, retirees, everyday workers hoping to secure their financial future. But history has a way of repeating itself. We've seen this before. Luna, FTX, OneCoin, a crypto project backed by big promises, skyrocketing prices, and an inevitable downfall. And Libra? It was no different. Then, just as quickly as it had risen, Libra began to crash. It started with minor dips, normal market movements, but within 48 hours, panic spread. The price plummeted from $5 to $3, then $2, and before anyone could react, it had collapsed below $1. Investors were stunned. They flooded social media, desperate for answers. People tried to withdraw their funds, but suddenly, withdrawals were temporarily disabled. Screenshots surfaced, showing accounts mysteriously wiped out. And then, something even more suspicious happened. Milei deleted all his posts promoting Libra. No warnings, no explanations. He simply erased any trace of his involvement. But the people remembered, and they were furious. Blockchain analysts quickly discovered something shocking. Massive transactions had taken place just before the crash. A handful of wallets, controlling millions of dollars worth of Libra, had sold off their holdings at the peak. This wasn't normal investor behavior. This looked like a rug pull. For those unfamiliar, a rug pull is a common crypto scam. It happens when insiders pump up the value of a token, attract new investors, then cash out, leaving everyone else with worthless coins. But the real question was, who were these insiders? Argentina's financial authorities launched an emergency investigation. Over 100 criminal complaints were filed against the creators of Libra and against President Milei himself. Investigators discovered disturbing connections between the anonymous wallets that dumped Libra before the crash. These accounts were linked to offshore financial entities with ties to high-ranking officials. One name, in particular, kept resurfacing, a private investment firm suspected of having close connections to Milei's administration. Could it be that government insiders had orchestrated this pump-and-dump scheme? While no direct evidence linked Milei himself to the profits, his sudden silence raised suspicions. The collapse of Libra didn't just hurt investors, it sent shockwaves through Argentina's entire economy. The consequences were immediate and devastating. Within hours of the crash, online forums and social media were flooded with desperate messages from people who had lost everything. Some had invested their entire life savings, hoping that Libra would be their way out of economic hardship. Protests erupted across Buenos Aires. Outside the presidential palace, furious investors demanded answers. Their message was clear: where is our money? Who is responsible? But the government remained silent. Banks, fearing a larger financial collapse, tightened regulations on cryptocurrency transactions, making it even harder for people to withdraw their remaining digital assets. The financial world was in panic mode. The scandal wasn't just national news, it went global. International financial institutions weighed in, warning that this could be one of the largest cases of state-backed crypto fraud in history. News outlets from the United States, Europe, and Asia covered the collapse, speculating on whether this would be the end of Milei's presidency. But what made this situation even worse was the broader economic impact. Argentina was already facing one of the worst inflation crises in modern history, and the Libra collapse only made things worse. As confidence in the country's financial system plummeted, businesses saw their stock prices drop. Foreign investors pulled out, fearing further instability. The economy, already fragile, was now on the brink of disaster. And then came the political fallout. Javier Milei, who had once been seen as a pro-business, anti-government corruption leader, now found himself in the center of a scandal that threatened his very presidency. His approval ratings nosedived, and even members of his own government began to distance themselves from the controversy. But this case isn't just about Argentina. It serves as a warning to the entire world. In the past, we've seen crypto scams run by anonymous developers. But now, we're seeing governments and world leaders getting directly involved. And when politics and crypto mix, the results can be catastrophic. So, what are the lessons from the Libra collapse? First, never invest based on hype alone. Just because a public figure endorses something does not mean it's safe. Second, always do your research. If a cryptocurrency lacks transparency or skyrockets too fast, it's likely a scam. And third, watch the warning signs. In almost every financial scandal, the red flags were there all along. But by the time the truth comes out, it's already too late. The truth is, we may never know the full story behind Libra. But what we do know is that this was a disaster that should have never happened. It left investors in ruin. It shook an entire economy. And it exposed the dark side of political influence in cryptocurrency. So the next time you see a government or a high-profile figure pushing a new investment opportunity, ask yourself, who really benefits? And always, follow the money trail.